Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with the gorgeous Marianny, and we created this Ultra Glam look and answered some of your questions. So if you like it, stay tuned.
The first thing I want to talk about is basically how do you prep somebody's skin so it doesn't look like cakey afterwards?
Well, first off, I'm gonna clean your skin. It's really funny because most people are like, oh, I just want to have beautiful skin, and like 90% of the makeup look comes from skincare before you put it on. I'm gonna use some cleansing water. This is the Dear Dahlia micellar water. I just always clean first, and then since we're gonna do some pictures afterwards, I like to dermaflash or dermaplane the skin, and that just gets really any dead skin and any baby hairs off, and it just helps with creating that glow that everybody wants.
Yes. So do you recommend, I've seen people shaving their faces with an actual razor.
No, that's the dermaflash.
That's why.
Yeah.
You have that.
So it's really simple, but you just go over and it'll get little tiny spots. And it's non-abrasive. The tops of the cheek are the one area that most people don't do. And I love doing because see the little hairs?
Yep.
And it just makes the makeup go on smooth. Then what I like to do is I use this hyaluronic acid, but I spray everything. And this just kind of like gets the skin nice and plump and more ready for makeup. Finding a really good moisturizer is really key. And this is a balm. And what I like about it is a little goes a long way.
It's different.
It's green. But watch this. As soon as it goes onto my skin, which I love, is that it melts.
Okay.
It's all organic, but I just put it where you're dry.
Okay. So not...
You can use it all over.
Okay.
If you want a super glowy look. Put it where I definitely want the shine and then blend it out. I'm gonna use a little bit of a primer from the Tatcha Silk Veil. I don't use a lot, but I want to just in your T-zone area, I want to use a little bit. So this stuff is a little bit goes a long way. So, do you use primers?
Yeah.
Why do you use primers? I always like to.
Why?
Yeah. So I'm using the primer basically just in any area that needs a little bit of smoothing for texture.
Yeah, I don't know why I use primer.
Because you saw it on Instagram somewhere?
Because I feel like after I don't put a lot of things before I do my makeup on my... I don't put a lot of things on my skin before I do my makeup because I feel it's gonna be like, too heavy, too much on my skin. But I use my primer and then I try to start doing my makeup because I feel like the primer is going to make my skin a little more even.
It's really whatever works for you is perfectly fine. So basically I put the primer on and you can see it kind of helps just through your sides of your nose, and I always like focus on an area and then blend it out, and just basically anywhere that I want to have a little bit more help with the texture so that we can just have a really light makeup that just looks beautiful. Okay, so the biggest thing with that I find with eye makeup is that less is more, because you have great eye shape, but you also have smaller eyes in the sense, and I feel like they can get closed off. So I want to do,
yes, they do.
I want to do a sultry, smoky look that really plays up the shape but doesn't close them off. All right, so this is the one of my staples. This is the Nars Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base.
Okay.
I'm gonna be hygienic and put it on the back of my hand. And then I'm gonna take just a little fluffy brush and I'm gonna place it all over the eye. And so I'm just doing a little bit lighter, touch lighter, just so this is like your base. All right, so prepping that off. It's a lot of primer. So you did the face primer, you did the eye primer, but it's also gonna act as your eyeshadow base.
Okay. How to contour your face according to your shape.
Okay.
Because I have a different shape,
Everyone does, yes.
What's your best technique for that?
So the best technique is doing it with cream, because cream I find is more forgiving. So if you're a beginner or you're a professional, cream I think is always the best.
Okay.
Just because it's you can kind of sculpt, and until you put powder on top of it, you haven't messed anything up.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take a normal foundation brush, basic foundation brush, and I'm going to take, this is a stick foundation. It's one of Nars' old ones. They don't make it anymore, but any stick foundation, if you look at it, it's about 4 shades, 5 shades darker than what you are. So whenever you're doing makeup, you're going to proportion the face. So you're going to look in and see what is in proportion. So your forehead is a little bit smaller than your midsection, and then you have a smaller lower section. So you only need to contour through the cheekbone, and then you can define a little bit where you want to frame out the face. So what I'm going to do...
So question, if I had a bigger forehead, what would you do?
Yeah, so if you had a bigger forehead, I would put some contour across the forehead to make it so that it's balanced. Because basically contouring is making everything in proportion. So you want to start with the middle section. The middle section is perfect, but you're smaller on your forehead and you're lower. So you kind of want to minimize...
so you don't want to give it a smaller edge, basically.
Right, and since you have these amazing cheekbones, I want to frame, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to turn this way, is I'm going to take your cheekbone sits right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a line, and it's like almost like a triangle, like that. Wait, right here. So that's basically what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do on the other side. And what this is going to do is it's going to create your line that you want for the raising of the cheekbone, and then you're going to blend it out. Now, because I don't want to just have this brightness right through here, I'm going to pop a little bit, just a little bit through the upper temple, but not across the forehead because I don't want to pull it down. So it's basically when you contour, you can either do it before or after. I like doing it before because all the other stuff I'm going to put on top of it is going to soften it up. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. I like doing it before.
So for me, it's easy to see where the cheekbones are. For somebody that has more of a rounder face or, like bigger cheeks, what do you...
So if you take a brush like this and you go from the corner of the mouth to the upper part of the ear, your cheek sits right in there. See how, look to the side, see how it sits right there?
I see.
No matter your face, that's where your cheekbone is. But you can also, because if you can feel, no matter what your face size is, you can look in, like push in, and you can feel the bottom of your cheekbone. And you're making that line right at the bottom of the cheekbone.
Okay.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit, just barely any right through here. Just because you don't want to have it in one spot. And then a little bit through here. And I'm not going to do your nose until we get further into it.
Okay.
All right? So with that, I'm just going to... And I don't want to bring it down too far. So see how that's nice and it just frames your face? And what also, if you do it this way, with the foundation stick, it's going to give you a softer, more bronzy look than the traditional like hard contour. So it's a little bit more forgiving. So this is the Nude Sticks foundation, the tinted cover, but it's basically more like a skincare tinted moisturizer.
So it's not like foundation.
It's not super heavy because all I want to do is use the foundation to give you color because I want to put so much more concealer on to frame that you don't need to have layers and layers of heaviness. This is a Ben Nye synthetic brush, and all I'm going to do is just paint on. Kind of press because I don't want to move too much. And I'm not really going over just yet the contour, I'm going around it.
Okay.
And so, turn a little bit to me this way. So like painting it here. The trick whenever you're doing your makeup is you don't need to smear it everywhere. It's like place it where it needs to go. And that's why we're gonna break it down for everybody.
That's a really good tip.
Cause see like how right now, foundation is only to make your skin look a certain way. Now this is gonna make your skin nice and give it some coverage, but not make it cakey. And then we're just gonna go in, and then we also have to make sure you see how that gives a nice color. See now whenever you turn a little bit, you see the cheek is still there. The contour's there. I'm gonna get my trusty pinky puff so that I don't ever rest, like, whenever I'm doing your makeup, I don't touch anything. Alright, so we're gonna do something kind of simple. I'm just gonna enhance the shape of your eye and do very basic eye makeup placement so everybody knows
Exactly.
what to do, and then I'm gonna finesse it a little bit so it looks really cool.
Okay.
Everybody in an eye application, and I'm gonna keep this very simple. So you need to have a small crease brush. You need to have a depositing brush, so like a placement brush, okay? So we have a placement brush, a crease brush. We need to have a smudge brush.
Which looks like
Anything that's gonna smudge. They sometimes also look like this, but I want a really small one.
okay.
Actually, we can do all three. So we'll do 4 of them. They're kind of the same thing, so give or take. And then we're gonna need liner brushes, but that's a whole nother chapter.
Okay.
Okay, so this is eye makeup placement 101. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna use this Visa Art. It's their warm mattes 01. I'm gonna keep it real simple. You can buy this palette. I'm not gonna do a bunch of different fancy things. So I just want to paint on a little bit of the light on the inside corner. And this is just to open the eye. And then I'm going to transition across the lid with this this one here, just because I don't want it to be light all over the eye. Alright. Across the lid. And I'm not going like in the crease. And this is literally so that whenever I go in with the darker shades, nothing gets too it's too aggressive. Does that make sense? Because you know how sometimes you put on eyeshadow and it'll it'll be really dark, or you go darker than you want to. Remember we said that we wanted you to keep your eyes light and bright. So lighter on the inside corner. I'm gonna place this across the lid into the crease. Then I'm gonna take a crease brush and I'm gonna go one step over. So we've gone 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm just gonna paint this all through the crease, and the crease is just out here. And I want to turn a little bit. So we're gonna go the light on the inside corner, go a little bit darker on the lid, just the medium tone. But just so you can see where I place this, I'm gonna go in the crease and around. And I just want to keep your eyes open and bright, because I'm going to line your eyes. Alright, now the other brush. So the little smudge brush. So I wanted to get it so that there's a nice definition to your eye. And what I want to do...
So you're going on
with this
basically the darker.
The darker, yeah. Is I'm going to turn to me. Is I'm just going to place right on the outside corner, and it's tapering, it's along the lash line and tapering it out. See?
I like it, and it gives you that cat eye.
A little bit, but it's like without having it be too intense. I'm gonna go back in with liner and stuff, but this is like the way to error-proof, give yourself a lift, and also be wearable, because you know, like you see those people that try and do the cat eye, and they shouldn't be doing the cat eye because the liners are off, and I'm guilty of it too. But if you're in a hurry, this is just a much more effective way to get the lift on your eye. Okay, so whenever, just because everything is, I placed it in, I want to go back in with the crease brush and just kind of blend it in and through the crease. I don't like lines, and you'll if you look at a lot of my makeups, I don't like doing heavy lines. So see how that eye is nice and blended out, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I don't, just note, I didn't powder underneath the eyes because I'm gonna go back into them.
Okay.
All right, so what you do is that if you take the mid-tone shadow that you did through the crease, you're gonna place it, look up, you're gonna go underneath the eyes, all the way across, and see how that's gonna wrap up around your eye. But this is gonna set it up so if you wanna do the cat eye or extend it out, we can. Because when it all comes together, it's gonna be really defined. I don't wanna go too dark underneath your eyes, because I'm still gonna put concealer and stuff there. So this is the E-Sum, it's just a nice soft pencil. Close. And I'm just gonna line the eyes. So I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna smudge along the lash line. Alright. Now, the same thing I want to do, I'm going to line the inside. And I'm only going to go halfway. And the reason I'm only going halfway is because you have smaller eyes. And I want to create that lift. So if I went all the way across, it's going to be too cat, like closed off. And I go halfway also is because I just want to define this bottom lash line and see how that's already coming together.
Yeah, I see my eye.
She just did the turn where she's like the seal of approval. She's like, oh, okay. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to kind of get your eyes going. So curl your lashes for me, because it's really good. It's like whenever I go to set, I'm always like, don't mess with my eyelash curler, because it's been like with me forever. Okay, so I'm gonna use a little bit of, this is actually my new favorite mascara.
Okay, that's another question.
Sam Marshall.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different mascaras, and they all kind of are, there's not ones that are like, oh my god, but feel this packaging. And then look at the brush head. So it's nice and full. It's got that where you really can go in there. I'm gonna have you
do it
so you can see. Just do a light coat. But see how it's got like binders in it.
And I like the consistency of it too.
Yeah.
It's not too watery. You know, sometimes it's just like really liquid and.
But then you can actually see how good it is. But that eye is cute. Yeah, and then do the other side. So now I'm gonna go in and do a little bit of liner. So I'm gonna use this as a Jouer black liner. It's the kitty liner. So you're gonna have to face me and look down. Just look down real close. Yeah. So I'm just lining ever so slightly. So what I'm doing is I just want a perfect crisp line. All right, so there's a little bit of a wing. This is how I basically like to enhance the face. So we've dropped in these subtle contours, and I want to take a little bit of the warmer, and I always like to go warmer before lighter, and I'm gonna place in underneath, and this is just gonna brighten. Snatch.
Oh my god. I love it. How many shades lighter would you say?
So this is like I could do this, and it would be perfectly fine, but I think it's a little bit too much. So I want to bring it to 20, and then I'm gonna just because your forehead was smaller, so we didn't put contour there. So I do a little bit, kind of bring it down. And that's the trick. So like, because I always had a little bit of this foundation left, so I like to like always go back over and blend it. And see how now it's perfectly toned. So no fret. Because I'm always worried about having that perfect under eye. And see how nice and pretty that is? So that wasn't the most. So basically I just showed you how to how to tone your concealer if it gets too light. Either way. So basically I put the concealer on and then I put a little bit of the foundation on top of it just so it's nice and toned. Because a lot of times with concealers too, is there two different textures because I'm using two different brands. So I want to make sure that the textures match up and that it's nice and so now I want to, while the foundation is wet, so you were talking about highlighting. So while it's wet, I want to put in your highlighter because I want to have a lot of it, but I don't want it to go too bright because I'm still going to put powders and stuff on top of this. And so this is how I get that like amazing skin that's like filter free. Yes. All right, so I'm going to take a nice powder brush, and this is the Sex Pose from Artist Couture, and it's just like a rose pink, a rose gold. And
so
I
you do it while the foundation is still wet, or before setting that?
Yeah, so face me so I can show everyone. So right on the tops of the cheek, right above the contour line, I want to place the highlight a little bit on the temple, a little bit through the chin or the bridge of the nose, and that's really all you need.
Oh my god.
So I don't want it to be too bright, and so whenever I put the powder to set everything and the powder bronzer, it's gonna tone it.
So for the under eye, do you still set the makeup?
So I use the
Some people,
matte.
you know, they do the baking technique.
I don't like baking.
Okay.
Because I don't like it to look too cakey and creasy.
Okay.
I've been doing a technique with the new Fenty powder, and it's very simple. A little goes a long way. A little goes, I mean, a little. I take just the tiniest little bit, knock it off. Knock it off, knock it off. It's literally just a little bit on the brush. And I go right where you would have, where you want that perfect under eye.
Yeah.
So right in the corner, down the sides of the nose. And then the trick that I like is placing a little bit right on the top here, and then sweeping it under. You don't want all that to be matte. You want still the highlight and everything to pop. But see how nice and pore free. It's almost like there's a filter on it, because this is actually what that does. So just a little bit where we want it to be perfect. All right. Actually, let's do the lips. So putting on the lips, I'm just gonna do this. I love this skin collection. So this is the Nude Pencil by Issa. And I'm not going to do any crazy lip technique. I just wrap the lip, because you have perfect full lips. And this is like the perfect color for you, actually. Turn a little bit this way. So this is by Sam Marshall, the same one that does mascara. Shop in the same place. This is Angeline, and it's like a rosy pink, but I love this color. So I'm just gonna load off the brush. Sometimes I put on the lips first before I finish off the look, just because I want to be able to make sure there's balance. And then we're gonna take this gloss, which is Artist Couture also. Climax
Wow, okay, I like the names.
So it is just a really pretty gold. Black. See how it complements? So you're like super bronzy. Alright, I'm gonna do a little bit of contour bronzer through the cheeks here, just so that we have a nice little bit of definition. Just going over basically exactly where we put the cream bronzer.
Yeah.
And this kind of sets. And see how little powder I use?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use Goof Proof Brow Pencil, and this is 3.75.
That's from.
This is Benefit, yeah. So Benefit, and basically, because you have really good structured brows, is that it's just going to put a little bit of a shadow in there and not really add any density, so they're not too harsh. But if you wanted, like if you needed to fill in a spot, this is great for that. But if you needed to add brows, then I would definitely use like the Precisely My Brow, where you can go in and actually define it. It's like, oh, it makes it so, it makes them perfect but not harsh. All right, see that? I want to do one tweak though. I just want to kind of with the tip of it, just enhance that crease ever so slightly. Just like that. And it's the same color, but I'm just going in. This brush has it's a Scott Barnes brush, but it goes and it has a little bit of where you can really just draw in that crease. All right, so this Jouer palette, I love. Are you a pink girl or you're a neutral? Bronzy. All right, so I'm gonna take this. Actually, this is another Scott Barnes brush. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and just kind of hit the fronts of the cheek because we put all that bronzer on, and this is just gonna give you a nice, like youthful, that J-Lo glow.
This is a very J-Lo look.
It's very J-Lo, but Marianny.
Yes.
I do one last thing because I take everything and I take a nice brush and just make sure everything is nice and set and there's no lines of demarcation and it's nice and blended. Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for doing this. I know a lot of my followers and your followers, a lot of people that follow our journeys are going to be happy and really appreciate all the tips and advice that you gave us.
Yeah. I try to make it simple, and as you saw, if you watched the video, there's a little bit of mistakes in how we corrected it, keeping it real, keeping it classic. If you like what you saw, subscribe, like, comment, and share, and we will see you again soon.